Welcome once again. Now, it seems negative news surrounding the seizure of Nigeria's assets by a Chinese firm, Zhongshang Fucheng Industrial Investment Limited, is not ending anytime soon. The Chinese company is said to have completed the seizure of a Nigerian-owned luxury airplane in Canada within the last 24 to 48 hours. Now, after a Canadian court ruled that Zhongshang was authorized to take possession of the Bombardier 6000 type aircraft and take it from Nigeria, the company recently got a change of custodian papers from Canadian authorities in Montreal. According to the report, Judge David Collier of the Superior Court of Quebec quashed Nigeria's arguments to keep aircraft ownership on March 21, 2024, stating that Zhongshang will not stop seizing Nigeria's assets worldwide until the last cent of the arbitration awards has been paid. Recently, an American appellate court determined that Nigeria was not entitled to sovereign immunity against Zhongshang's recovery of its arbitration award. According to the most recent development, Zhongshang has been successful in seizing Nigeria's assets in Canada, the UK, and France. How does this speak well of Africa's most populous nation? How does it represent our core values of honesty as a people? Why has the anti-graft agency, the presidency, kept mute without swinging to action to rescue the integrity of Nigeria? Joining us to look at what many have called an international embarrassment or disgrace, whichever you deem fit, is Global Affairs Analyst Ejike Okpa. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Are you as embarrassed? Are you as embarrassed as many Nigerians have been regarding these revelations in the past few days?
I think it's a huge, finger in your face that an individual, not even the Chinese government, an individual can go after Nigeria and do what he has done. And the Nigerian Foreign Ministry, the Nigerian ambassador to Canada, and then President Tinubu, nobody has said anything. Nigeria has increasingly become a damaged good, and nobody cares to see how can they redeem that damaged aspect of Nigerian global image. Because you can't seize the asset of a government. There are two classes of assets, and those assets are going to be the diplomatic asset, and then of course the non-diplomatic asset. If it's a diplomatic asset, they can get their hand on it. So obviously Nigeria has assets all over the world that are not protected by the diplomatic clause that enable them to have those things protected so that individuals can get access to it. So again, it goes back to show, how lousy the leadership at the foreign ministry is, and then the office of the president. And then you have all these Nigerians who go around as senior advocate of Nigeria. If you're a senior advocate of Nigeria, you should not just be going to local court. You should gather. Anytime anything is going to damage the global brand of Nigeria, you lawyers should gather and go after it on behalf of Nigeria, just to show that you can fight. But nobody does anything. That's why they can, in Nigeria, anybody can just go in and seize their bank account or even their diplomatic offices. So it's an embarrassment. It's a huge one. And Tinubu should have been saying something about it, but obviously hasn't.
I mean, saying something about he's currently on holiday in France, or on a work stay in France. So maybe when he's back, he would address it. But I mean, what level of introspection do you think that the Nigerian government should take from all of this that is playing out? There's many. I think you mentioned an aspect that I think I should also focus on. Someone had also raised certain issues with regards the approach that the Nigerian legal representatives, even had to some of these cases where they didn't show up on time or they delayed in addressing these issues, and that's what led to the eventual court decisions to have these assets seized. And so what for you would be the points of introspection that the current Nigerian government must take from all of this?
First of all, who is incurring the debt? You know, if it's a state, if it's an individual, is it the federal government of Nigeria? So the Nigerian Senate or the Nigerian National Assembly should get together now and pass a certain law making it, if you go to borrow money or a state governor, because I think part of this is like a state governor when I borrowed money and now the guy is not going after the state, he's going after Nigeria. There should be a limitation. There should be clauses when Nigeria or individual Nigerians are on, incurring debt for themselves, not for the country. But once you cross your own international border, then you get into the diplomacy issues. You should avail yourself of all clauses and protections that enables you to function so that you can protect that brand. Remember, this is Nigeria. This is not Nigerians. And so that law should be in place. No, I mean, for instance, like somebody going after U.S. asset overseas, it will never happen because, they're going to protect the American brand. So what we need to do, or what Nigerians need to do is, this is an example for them to rally, get back into a committee and say, this should never happen. I mean, you hear these Chinese do, they lend you money and they seize your asset. It shouldn't happen. One day they might even want to come and say we own all of Nigeria. So Nigerians should be very careful what debt they get, what are the conditions, what are the default. And then maybe this is time now to now go, anybody who's going to lend money to Nigeria, it should be made public so that the public can see the terms and conditions.
I think that's a great angle that we're going to explore, being lending or borrowing money, whichever you so please. But let's go on this quick break, and when we come back, we'll delve into that. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still looking at the conversation regarding the Chinese firm's dispute against Nigeria, and we're joined by Ejike Okpa, Global Affairs Analyst. Thank you once again for being with us. Now, I'd like us to look at the role that Ogun State plays in all of this. We know that all this drama dates back to 2007 when the Ogun State Free Trade Zone situation or agreement was entered into between Ogun State and the Chinese firm. Unfortunately, several years down the line, that has broken down. There's been an arbitration award that was given against Ogun State. Now, at what point, first of all, I think the first question would be, was Ogun State or should the state in Nigeria be entitled to go into contractual agreements of such magnitude with international companies without the approval of the federal government? And now that the arbitral award has been given, who is meant to pay the arbitral award? Is it the state or is it the federation?
I mean, when you go for debt, you have to go to who originated the debt. So if it was Ogun State and it was 17 years ago, 2007, as you said, then they should go back and look at that agreement. Was the agreement debated or by the Ogun State House of Assembly? Who were the signatories to that, debt? And if for whatever reason they did it, then the Chinese people, if see one thing about debt is, if there's what they call undue duress. If the lender had used an undue influence and undue duress to lend you money, you are entitled to go to court. If, that's what they call the usury law. The usury law is such that if somebody's charging you interest rate that's going to make it harder for you to pay back that debt, the law protects you to go back and decline it. So the Nigerian government now should go back and pull those documents and see what was agreed to, what were the terms. And this, for whatever reason, Ogun State, did it, and either because of out of ignorance or poor advisory, they should be paid. And then what the federal government needs to do is whatever money that is due them, they should withhold it to pay, to reward themselves for whatever damage Nigeria has suffered. Because this may now tell the state, because you see all these governments, they run all over the world and they cure debt. The federal government again and the National Assembly should come in now and make it very, very hard. Because now it's an embarrassment. No, who cares about Ogun State? Who knows about? But everybody's looking at Nigeria. This is becoming case law for those who are studying international law to see this is how not to do it. Nigeria has put itself on a bad situation, and they have to redeem the situation. In fact, they may even have to go after the individual Chinese for doing this. Because if you don't fight back, then nobody's going to take you seriously. And then Nigeria should recall the ambassador of those particular countries. If he's the Canadian ambassador, kick him out of Nigeria, and then recall the Nigerian ambassador to Nigeria, and they have questioned. Because if the countries are colluding to undermine Nigeria, Nigeria should say enough is enough. You can't be doing this.
But that would greatly, be determined by Nigeria's international image and diplomatic strength that it has. Can Nigeria, the Nigeria of today, does it have that diplomatic, strength to take those types of steps? I started by saying that our president is currently in France on a work stay that, of course, is not properly explained to the Nigerian people. What is in France? And these are some of the things that the world is watching.
Well, again, that's what I'm saying. When Tinubu left Nigeria, he said he was going to Equatorial Guinea, and then from Equatorial Guinea, he flew to France. Again, you have the National Assembly. The National Assembly has become a lame dog. They just stamp over whatever the president wants to do, and the president gets away. Nigeria is run like a petty cash operation. The president is in charge of anything. If he wants to appoint a minister, he wants to keep one for himself, he does that. So where is the strength? Where is the strength of the country? It's not in your president. It's not in your governor. Anybody can do anything. I'm just saying sometimes you want bad things to happen. And then when it happens, it makes you go back to your drawing board. I give you an example. In 1998, a Nigerian gentleman was owed money by a Nigerian MPA. He came to Dallas and met me and wanted me to see if I could help him. I went and we looked at certain things. And we found out the diplomatic aspect Nigeria owned and the non-diplomatic aspect. And my resources at the time told this gentleman, if you want to fight this, don't go back to Nigeria, because he was going to be very mean. So what I'm saying is that Nigeria needs to protect itself. And how you protect yourself is diplomatically, so that nobody, individual or no one particular country, can come over there and run circles around. This Chinese individual has done something that has just put a slap on Nigerians. And if Tinubu does not rise up to this occasion, then he's not worth being the president of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Look, it's a time, so white people have asked me, Edward, what will make your people get angry? Nigerians don't know how to get angry. Nigerians have become totally docile, allowing things to happen to them. Their governor abused them, the president abused them, and everybody said, oh, they're just this suffering and smiling kind of thing. It shouldn't be. Because now once you say you're a Nigerian, everybody looks at you with suspicion. We Nigerians need to fight.
Just a final question, if you can quickly throw this in 30 seconds. Our diplomatic relations with China, are also very important. We continue to seek loans from China every now and then. And so, that might also be something that puts us in a tight spot, yes?
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. I came to America when, the financial crisis were happening in this country. I was one of the people that wrote how to liquidate failed bank assets back in 1989. So China is not lending any money to Nigeria. China is gouging Nigeria. China has become a mafia kind of lender. They send you money. Nobody knows the terms and conditions. Those of you that are in the media, and then the Nigerian financial people and the lawyers. That's why I think, all these people that go around with the title of senior advocate of Nigeria, excuse my French, they are senseless advocates of Nigeria. They haven't fought for Nigeria. Instead, they go and spend time in local courts and try to do things that has no collateral value for Nigeria. But again, it's good that this thing has happened. It's now a call on every Nigerian. You don't have to wait for the president to take action. There should be a petition sent to every senator, every House member to do something. Because if you don't do it, one day you may wake up and they tell you they have seized your federal capital, they have seized your airport. China is not doing Nigeria a favor. China is a mean country, and if Chinese people succeed when you don't push back. I have dealt with them. When you speak up to Chinese men, it goes away. So what has happened that they come to Nigeria and they are treated like us? These people are, mean. I'm using the word, and I'm sorry. I don't have to apologize to it. Chinese people are mean. They don't even see Africans as human beings. All right. So now that they're exercising this stuff, it's emboldening them. You have to just cut them short, just to cut them at the feet, let them fall over. The money they have left Nigeria hasn't made Nigeria succeed. All right,
Ejike Okpa, thank you very much for joining us. And once again, we appreciate that you have to wake up to be a part of the show. Now you can go back to bed.
I appreciate you guys. That's why I wake up for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.